So I was looking for some good, clean jokes. Hard to find sometimes. It's amazing how many golf course jokes there are. Jesus, Moses, and an old man go golfing. The first one to tee off is Moses. He smashes the ball and it is heading right for the water hazard before the green. Moses raises his club, the water parts, and the ball makes it to the green. Jesus gets up to swing, cranks it out, and it is headed for the water hazard. Jesus closes his eyes and prays, and the ball skips across the water and lands on the green 2 feet from the hole. The old man's turn comes and he drives the ball, and the ball looks like it's going to drop directly into the water. A fish jumps from the water hazard, swallowing the ball, as an eagle drops from the sky, grabbing the fish. As the eagle flies over the green, a bolt of lightning strikes the eagle, making it drop the fish. As the fish hits the green, it spits out the ball, and the ball falls into the hole, making a hole in one. Jesus looks at Moses and says, "I really think I'm leaving Dad at home next time." So much of destiny is determined on the golf course, I think. That's good to have a little levity. You know, there was a young woman back during the Second World War who made a conscious choice to hold on to levity and goodwill. And her name was Anne Frank. She spent 4 years, in my understanding, of 4 years in a house coveted away with her family from the forces that were active in Holland at the time. She could have gone in either direction with attitude and her feeling, but she wrote these words: "Everyone has inside of him or her a piece of good news. The good news is that you don't know how great you can be, how much you can love, what you can accomplish, and what your potential is." Age 14. You know, ministry is an interesting vocation. I was reflecting on it, as I often do. It's an interesting vocation because I find myself walking with people in their lives as their lives unfold. And I walk with them. It's not about giving religious platitudes for them to change who they are. It's about walking with people and listening, and yet all the while holding an idea within consciousness of their wholeness, and that they have that indwelling presence within them, even when they have temporarily forgotten it. That's my job. That's my function in ministry. It's my credo. It's my underlying belief, my strongly held truth for people. I have walked with people in the last 45 years on this path, hundreds if not thousands of people. They have taught me, and I have shared things with them, hopefully beneficially. It's all about a shift in perception. And just a couple of days ago, I was sitting with someone visiting on my couch at home, This person was a very professional person, had a very professional career, 35 years old, trying to find that balance. She said to me, "Bruce, I have a hard time with all of the demands of my life, keeping in touch with my soul." And I just listened. And I held space for her because I knew that her soul was calling her to live in accord with that higher purpose. Even being a health professional, being of service to humanity, very high calling, very wonderful person. But she had this yearning to be more connected with her inner life and her inner self. You know, if I put this whole path, the spiritual path within context, it really has to do with accessing actual self versus a virtual mind-made self. Nothing wrong with any of that. Sometimes when I meet with people in my office, I have this painting behind the couch. And I ask people, stand up, take a look at that painting. And it's a painting of a being that has a number of masks that are falling away. And what remains and what resides is that essential spiritual beingness, that soul. And I say, what does that painting say to you? There's various interpretations, but it's really about letting go of virtual self so that actual self may be revealed. That is the healing. When God is revealed, man is healed. That is something someone told me 40 years ago at a retreat. I've never forgotten it. So we draw upon the teachings of the planet Earth. Many, many variables of a universal teaching. Could be in all kinds of different forms. And all kinds of forms of spiritual teachings have evolved because of the needs of the individual and collective psyche within that region or that area. But they are all asking and inviting us to go into a deeper place from the virtual to the actual experience. One such religion is Taoism. Taoism is about looking and feeling into the actual that exists. And if anybody within Taoism would say, that's it, another person within that tradition would say, you can never name it. It's not physical. It is a way of being. So I want to just preface what I'm going to share with you that it's a way of being. Because I shared this quote in Taoism with my wife, and she says, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, or not a right thing to say, but I don't know whether or not people are going to appreciate that piece. And I said, well, I want to work with it. I want to work with it because I'm not really just interested in inspiring stories that are going to help you put gas in your tank and help you move down the road a little bit. This is about a transformation of human consciousness, of allowing this presence and power that we experience during the meditation to transform our lives. And sometimes it takes certain words for us to hear it for the first time, where we hadn't heard the same words before. So within this Taoist statement, these words are, tell your mind, I don't care. Tell your mind, I don't care. Now, you may say, what do you mean I don't care? I care very much. I care about everything. I care about life. I care about the promotion of life. But once again, these words are pointing to something else. It's not like one person is standing next to another person and saying, I don't care, like it's a statement of apathy about life. Actually, this statement is saying, I don't care what the mind makes up about life. It's actually being in a place of being a spiritual warrior, really. Of looking at that which is contrived by the mind, which is really outside of the Tao, to let that go. And so that we naturally find residence within the Tao, which is, it's not very easily defined, because it can't really be defined. It's a way of life. It's a way of being. In the Christian teachings, it was called the kingdom of heaven. The Tao, the kingdom of heaven, are a state of consciousness that you and I, when we allow it to be, we are in a state where we don't care about the interpretations of the world, the interpretations of the mind. We become one with that which actually is, versus that which is virtually contrived. And when we have conversations such as these, I always remind myself that this is a soul conversation. You and I are having a soul conversation. So I invite you not to walk away from here today and saying, well, I don't really know what he was talking about. Did he say don't care? Please open your being to what is being shared. Sometimes you and I care too much. Anybody in the room cares too much sometimes about life, about friends, about situations, about their country? Goes on and on and on. We care too much sometimes. But we can say to our mind, the voice in the head, I don't care about your input. I don't care about your doubts and fears and negativity. I'm going within, and I'm going to live my life from my heart. And this is a wonderful secretary, but it's a horrible master. The master is here. Each of us, sometimes people are looking for a master teacher or a guru. You have your own. It's just right here. The kingdom of heaven is within you, the Tao. That presence and spirit that when we live from there is the answer, the divine solution. Unity, for one, is really an echo, the unity faith tradition I'm speaking of, is an echo or a carry forward of ancient wisdom. This teaching of quieting self and allowing ourselves to be receptive to the actual experience versus the mind-made virtual experience has been with us forever. All of this knowledge, this inner knowledge, we think that, quantum mechanics and quantum physics has been something relatively new in the last 80 or 90 years. But in the level of idea, it has always been. Even 30,000 years ago, when people were just first painting on cave walls to try to communicate the beauty of the physical world, these mechanics, this quantum field, we live and move and have our being in a quantum field of consciousness. It has always been. We're just now becoming more receptive to it and having the language for it and opening ourselves to the possibilities of life beyond just simple cause and effect. The actual experience is that the entire field of life, even in this room, right now is charged with this very presence and power that you and I are looking for meaning. We're looking for meaning, for fulfillment, for healing. It's here and now. And that's the good news that Anne Frank was speaking of. That we all have a piece of that good news within us. And so when the Taoist says, tell your mind I don't care, it's really about emptying the cup. So something else beautiful and more authentic can be filled into the cup. I often use that metaphor in counseling with people. If you find a container, a cup in your backyard, and it's dirty, and so you like it though, and you take it inside, and you clean it, you sanitize it, and it's beautiful, and you use it for however long you choose to. That's much like the spiritual path. It's simply a cleansing of the cup of consciousness. Tell your mind, I don't care about all the made-up stuff, so that which is true can be revealed. Even inventors like Thomas Edison or Albert Einstein received downloads of information from this actual realm of ideas, as Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Unity movement, called it, the realm of divine ideas about electricity and mathematics. They received it when they were in a very quiet place, either sleeping or just very reflective, open to divine ideas. So, I wrote down here, we walk the earth with an increasing understanding of our own higher nature, our own inner nature. That's what this is all about. So I have something that I would like to share with you as an exercise, because it's not just enough about talking about something. It's about, well, how do we get there? Well, it's not that we're not there, it's just that we don't know that we're there because of the mind. Nothing wrong with the mind. The mind is a wonderful instrument. Creates all kinds of beautiful things. And it also creates a lot of drama that we don't really need. I was in a conference with a friend of mine who is a mentor of mine some months ago, and he said, "You know what the solution is, Bruce?" I said, "What?" He said, "Praise divine love in all life. Praise divine love in all life." So what I'm speaking about here is the distinction really that has been held within unity teachings for over 125 years. When we say, "I don't care," it's really a denial. A denial that anything that is less than truth has any power over us. And when we praise with divine love, we are affirming. We are affirming truth. We are affirming the actual experience of the other in front of us. So you can praise divine love in friends and family, in spouses and ex-spouses, children, perceived enemies, because they're crying out for love. Fear is a cry for love, as the Course in Miracles would say. Whenever we're in fear, we have forgotten who we are, and it's a cry for love. You can praise divine love in gas station attendants and wait staff. And what's more important for me is 2 or 3 times a month, border security attendants. I praise divine love in you, sir or ma'am. Are you bringing anything illegal into the country? Not that I know of. One beautiful affirmation that I love, that I've learned in unity and have been reminded of so often, is, "I behold the Christ in you." I behold the Christ in you. The highest, the best, the truth, the actual behind the virtual. I behold, I hold it for you. I see it in you. I had a friend once say to me, "I behold the Christ in you because I can't stand the rest." I said, "Thank you for sharing." The spiritual path is an interesting one. We are always, well, my experience, and maybe you can relate, it's a continual building up into a state of inner sovereignty and strength, and just when you think you have it together, there's a humiliation that takes place. And what's at the root of humiliation? Humility. So we come to a place of perhaps of a competence in some area, and then everything just collapses, because the divine plan is not that we suffer, but that we just consolidate what we've learned and move to the next level. We start to build for the next level, and then the next, and then the next. And in the unity teachings, it's all about mastery of self, because there is a divine example that is our possibility. But we already are it. Tag, you're it. we're already it. It's just a series of masks that are falling away. And a certain incorporation of divine energy within the chalice of self, within the cup. It's a maturation process that is a beautiful one and a challenging one, as we all know. Being human, being a being, is an interesting process. So it's all about supporting and loving each other along the way. So if people are caught up in a drama of something that is low vibration, you can tell your mind, I don't care. But I choose to take a stand and say, I praise divine love in this situation. That is an alchemy. It's a transmutation of the energy within that moment, which we have the capacity to do. So this week, if you choose, you can make an exercise out of this. You can watch your mind. And you can say to your mind, thanks for sharing, but I don't care. And then, when you have emptied that cup, you can fill it with divine love and praise divine love in your brothers and sisters and in yourself. So that's our inner work for the week. And I will also be practicing it. Thank you very much.